You do not have to go to church because church is a cult. It has always been a cult since its takeover of Christianity by Roman Catholics well after the Edict of Milan was issued in 313 CE by Roman emperors Constantine and Licinius. This edict declared religious tolerance throughout the Roman Empire. The edict ended the persecution of Christians and granted them legal recognition along with the restoration of seized property. It allowed all citizens, including Christians, the freedom to worship as they chose in Rome. Before the edict, Catholics, meaning a universal religion, could have been lovers. Well, I say they could not have been lovers of Christians if this edict stopped the persecution of Christians perpetrated by them. So the Roman Catholic Church could not have been at Pentecost as alleged in 2nd century AD. But now, because of the edict, many more Roman citizens became Christians. It was during this growth period and years on that the Roman religion of worshiping many gods was discontinued. Christianity flourished for the next 67 years. Then in 380 AD, the Christian religion became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Rome then took over Christianity from black Jews, and soon after, the European word church suddenly appeared, marking the beginning of the Roman Catholics and church. But questions arose and continued to be asked and needed answering, such as, where did church come from? Now begins the controversial lies and cover-ups as to where the church really comes from. I'll solve the first question for you by saying Jesus never said church, because no papyrus manuscripts of Matthew 16:18 has ever been found to prove he did. So from here on, I want you to pay close attention to how the Roman Catholic and Protestant churches chose to deceive all of us by telling us we have to worship God in churches. Now, to make us believe Jesus said church, the Roman Catholic Church set out to do wordplay with words. They turned to Greece and took an ancient Greek word called ecclesia that meant a civic assembly or gatherings and said it meant church of God, when clearly it didn't. But if ecclesia meant assembly or gathering and not church, this meant ancient Greek had no word in their vocabulary called church, as stated by the Roman Catholic Church. Therefore, we can say church emerging out of Greece is a lie. So if they didn't get the European word church from Israel or Greece, then where? So they turned to another European word name created in Scotland called Kirk, a man's name, as in Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, and said it too was a Greek word that meant church. But questions arose again as to how could a word Kirk from Scotland be Greek, a church, and associated with Jesus' early ministry when Scotland didn't even exist in Jesus' time. Knowing this, the Roman Catholic Church went ahead and declared Kirk a Greek word and means church. They say Kirk comes from the Greek word kuriakon, meaning the Lord's house. But how can kuriakon stand for the Lord's house for Christians when in ancient Greece it represented the house where Greeks' worship of many gods and goddesses took place well before Christianity began? Besides, Christians met in houses and homes, but not worshiping in them. These houses and homes were not considered the Lord's houses or homes, just house of assemblies for passing and speaking secretly on the word of God and other looming concerns, and fears. So no, Kirk nor ecclesia means church. Remember, Jesus spoke and taught in Arabic and not Greek. So church could only be derived from the Roman Catholic Church, who started its rule over it beginning from 380 AD onward, after Christian religion became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Even today, they still control all churches, no matter Catholic or Protestant, because both carry the Roman Catholic last name, that is church. But where did they get the word church from? Only they know. But with church bloody history, concentrated haters, spirit-worshiping liars, and confused people posing as believers and followers of Jesus, it couldn't have possibly come out of the mouth of Jesus, but out of the mind of Satan. Yes, church is a cult. And no, you don't have to go to this false church that lies and say Jesus started it. But I don't need a church or a building to worship out of. I am the temple of God, and the word of God dwells in me. Think about it.